Welcome to this regular meeting of the Readfield Select Board on May 19th, 2025 in Readfield, Maine. I'll call the meeting to order at 6:30. If you would please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of April 29th, item 25-093. I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is unanimous. And we have warrants 45 and 46, so that would be Dave. Take it away.
All right. Nothing real exciting. The 75% of it was the RSU payment for $363,099.85. We have $34,991.80 to Cushion Construction for various ditching culvert replacements, correct?
Correct.
There was $5,620.28 to New England Salt, $40,056.01 to Horn Construction, and I believe that's the last payment for the year?
That's the last one.
Yeah, for this year. And then $2,911.06 to LJB Incorporated, and that's for the sidewalk. Is that some of the engineering?
Yeah, that's the engineering work, and we have one more big one coming that was actually on that last warrant that you guys just looked at, and that'll wrap up everything that's the very last part of the design phase. So we'll be getting the new plans that'll include the full depth layout and all that stuff. So, yep.
And that's about it for exciting numbers, but that's about 90% of the warrant, other than payroll.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept warrants 45 and 46, the sum of $504,912.29.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It is unanimous. We will move on to communications. We have any communications from the select board or any goals check-in?
Yeah, I just wanted to say a big thanks to the folks on the rec board. I don't know if anybody makes it over South Road very often, but they've been working on the new upgrades to the softball field over there. So a bunch of individuals worked to build two new dugouts over there, and they've dug up all the loam and kind of made it look like a nice little field for t-ball again. So a lot of man hours went into that. So
Which field is this?
the one next to our the elementary school.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was all
Oh, that's
volunteers. They got, I'm pretty sure they got the lumber donated by the board to do the dugouts, and somebody donated something else, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
There's a
But
bunch of like bluestone there and some
yeah, they got a bunch
sand.
of that sand, and they did a great job. So thank you to all those volunteers for the hours and the rain that they put in to get that done.
Anybody else?
So before we go on, I'll communicate about, should we move up Krista so she doesn't have to stay for 40 more minutes before we talk to her?
Yes, we can
Or should
do
we
that
make
in
her
a
just
minute.
hang around?
I'd like to do something else first.
Excellent.
Okay, but then I'd entertain that.
Yeah.
I guess I would like to thank the people who showed up for the roadside cleanup yesterday. There were 4 of us there. 3 of us are here in the room. What we got done was good. I did 5 miles up and down Pea Ridge and Lane Road, and I got a 33-gallon trash bag full of stuff. So there is stuff out there. It's mostly alcohol containers.
Yeah.
They were not all empty, no, and I was not emptying them unless they were already without a lid. So heavy stuff. So I've talked to Eric, and I think at our next meeting, I'd like to discuss a couple different ideas for how we could do roadside cleanup in the future, and get a broader participation rate. So that would be good. It's kind of dwindled off over the years, so we need something to reinvigorate it.
I was thinking the same thing, actually, because I did not show up at that, but I did our road, Surrey Hill Road, and I just was wondering, like, an adopt a road, like, just have people on the road adopt the road and make a commit.
That's what
we talked about.
Okay.
And maybe not just people, but like we could ask the different businesses in town if they would
yeah.
adopt a road, and maybe each of the sports teams that are organized in Readfield, and you could pick a road and it would be your road like forever. So, you know, as long as, well, I mean, you wouldn't have to sign
Assuming
up
you're
for it
around
every,
forever.
Sponsoring a highway kind of thing. Yeah.
right. Well, you wouldn't have to sign up for it every year is what I mean. And so
Gotcha, yeah.
if you did it in October, you might not need to do it in the spring, you know, but you would just sort of kind of monitor it. And then it provides a little more ownership. So along that line,
Okay, cool.
Well, you
that's a
might
great
have
idea.
better luck getting me there if the last 2 years it wasn't on my anniversary.
Eric, bad timing.
Just saying.
I'll take full responsibility.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Well, I did take it to the Readfield Market for lunch, so.
Well, you are,
Dave, there's a bigger problem than roadside
yeah,
cleanup.
really, I just say, that's all you did. You're a lucky man, you're still here.
She's pretty low maintenance.
We better stop now. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so we're going to move on to a special recognition that we have. We have a Spirit of America Award to give tonight, and the person is here in the audience, so somebody here, you can now get a little nervous. This person is just about the most unassuming person around and has served the town for decades. This person was known after the nominator joined the library trustees in either 1987 or 88. The library had just moved to its present location, and the trustees were being integrated into the town's administration, and this person was instrumental in that transition. This person has been a member of the town cemetery.
I think she's catching on.
A member of the town cemetery committee for years as well, serving primarily as either the chair or budget guru. This person doesn't simplify attending the monthly meetings and call it good. For years, she is the one planting flowers on several graves whose families left endowments from Memorial Day plantings. I don't believe now that Grace knows that it's her, even knew the people whose graves she tends, but she does it year after year. Grace also, with guidance from her son Tim, stepped forward to support the creation of the Keene Ball Field at the Fairgrounds property. Through Grace's generosity, her love of baseball, go Red Sox, and her desire to help Readfield's kids, the ball field was made possible. And so, Grace, if you would come forward.
You're dressed?
Okay, I'll come around on your side then. I didn't dress up either, sorry, I forgot I was doing this. So this is the 2025 Spirit of America Award presented to Grace Keene for her many years of ongoing volunteering service and support to the Readfield community on the cemetery committee and other town and community-based activities. For all her generosity and community-oriented spirit, we extend our special appreciation and thanks. Someone in our community created for a special proclamation from the state of Maine. And this was, yep, be it known to all that we, the members of the Senate and House of Representatives, join in recognizing Grace Keene for everything I just read on the other side.
I'm not friends with any.
On behalf of the 132nd Legislature and the people of the state of Maine, signed by Matthew Dowdy, President of the Senate, Derek Grant, Secretary of the Senate, Brian Fecto, Speaker of the House, Robert Hunt, Clerk of the House, and Senator Craig Hickman of Kennebec County. So that is your official
Wow.
confirmation. Say your name. Stuff to go along with it, because you don't want it to get wet outside.
No, it is drizzling.
And yes, since we couldn't get you to the weather vane, we did
Oh,
get,
I was at a baseball game.
you did have
Of course you were.
Craig give you the certificate, but
Oh, okay.
it was heartfelt.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We do really need you here for the next item, though.
But Grace, I mean, I've been working with you for 10 years now, and you just exemplify volunteerism in the town. And when Andy passed, you stepped up, even though it was the last thing you wanted to do, because you knew it had to get done, and someone had to keep the committee going. So it was really just, again, fantastic to see you do that, because it wasn't easy for you. But I appreciate it. I know the town does. I know the cemetery committee does too.
Well, thank you.
And you can probably blame Tim for part of this, because he started it back when you guys did the ball field, so.
Yeah. Well, his kids have been chasing back and forth the ball games,
Aha,
which is exciting.
that's cool. Another generation of keen kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we had a request to take an item out of order, so I would like to do the appointment application for the rec committee for Krista Hilton. Krista, would you mind going to the podium? Okay, thank you. We promise not to grill you. So Krista, you're being considered for a first-time appointment to the rec board for a term of, is it 3 years? It's 2 years, it's finishing out a term. Can you tell us a little bit about why you would like to do this?
I have 2 kids who are involved in rec sports, and we use the beach all the time, and I've been asking to volunteer for the rec committee for a long time, and everyone keeps being like, yeah, we'll put you on the list. And so then I cornered one of the rec people, and they were like, there's a seat on the board. So here I am. I homeschool my kids, so I do think that's like a unique voice to have on the rec committee as well. So just happy to help and volunteer and keep things moving. And I think that there are a lot of other parents who want to volunteer who maybe are having the same kind of like, yeah, we'll let you know, but no one's taking contact information. So I'm hoping I can help facilitate some of the volunteerism with the rec committee as well.
Well, you sound like a dream come true. Every committee would love to have someone like you on it.
I went to 13 years of Catholic school. It was all volunteer and fundraising. So.
Does anyone have any questions for Krista? Would anyone like to make a nomination?
I'll make a motion to accept Krista's position on the rec committee from period of tonight through June 30th, 2027.
Second?
Who wants the second?
Flip for it. Steve.
She took
You're
Steve's.
running out of seconds.
Second,
You only have a
yeah,
couple
that's
more
right. You'll be all on your own soon enough.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. You are now on the rec board.
Thank you.
minutes. Thank you, Krista.
And you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Thank you.
But you may if you find us. Okay. So even if we're entertaining, she's still going home. All right.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is staff communication, the town manager report and the treasurer's report, and then we'll have community programming and the cemetery sexton reports.
Okay, thanks. I'll try to move through these quickly. Basically, April was a busy month for me in the town. I was on vacation for a week, and I spent a week before and a week after preparing and then cleaning up from that time off. So it's never easy to take a week off, but I managed to do it, and I appreciate the ability to do that. But we did get a lot done, even so. We're very close to being ready for the town meeting vote. I think that the approval of the wardens, or excuse me, the ballot clerks, tonight's meeting is really the last formal piece. Other than that, everything's in place. Absentee ballots are available, and we have the full budget was prepared and finalized and mailed out in late April, early May. So we're in very good shape there. Again, June 10th is the election. If folks want to vote in person, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Alphonse Center at Kents Hill School. The Fairgrounds Land and Water Conservation Fund grant is on its way, headed to the federal government for their consideration. That was the last major hurdle. Provided the money's still there when it shows up, we will have a very good chance of being given that because the state programs work very closely with the federal program, and it's almost a certainty, but I don't want to say that because there are lots of things that could happen. But we're happy to see that step having been taken. Almost all the equipment and software for the low-power FM radio station, emergency and community broadcasting, is at the town office, and we're getting that set up physically, and we'll be doing a computer setup sometime, I think, this week. So that's coming together very quickly. And Jen will be helping out with programming for that. And again, if anybody has any interest or ideas for a short radio program once a week, once a month, once every 3 months, whatever, let us know, and we're happy to have you, be a part of that. Gravel work on Gay Road is complete. Road ditching and culvert work is complete. Again, that's for this most recent round of the big chunk that we bid off and bid out. That's been taken care of, and now we're kind of getting ready for the next phase, the next round of work. But also grading is complete. Paving will start any day now. And then sweeping is in the queue, but we don't have an exact time frame. I hope they're not just working on the weekends because it would never get done. But sweeping's on the way. Moving on to technology, I did order a few more PCs and monitors. We should be all set to finish out that hardware purchase program for the next year in July, as soon as we get that new fiscal year. After that, we'll be transitioning to the cloud-based file storage and productivity software, and I did begin a trial of Office 365, and we're getting close to having that stuff kind of packaged up, and we'll be making a decision in the next couple months. Let's see, we're nearly full as far as summer staffing, and Jen is starting to get into a lot of activity for the beach and heritage days. She did a great job managing a group of volunteers for the Day of Caring with middle school kids. I also want to thank the other staff that were involved with that. Matt Seams helped direct some students as well. So we had, and Melissa had a group at the library. So we had a good representation of volunteers helping out with that type of stuff. And then grant reporting for the sidewalk project is up to date. That basically means the reimbursement requests and the reporting about activities. We're all set through March. And then in June, we'll get to the next quarter. So we bill it basically on a quarterly basis. And then solid waste and recycling was, we have a few things going on. We had a great meeting last week and sorted out a few things, looking at trying to clarify and make it easier for towns to engage and participate in that, because it is a shared kind of resource that we work with Fayette and Wayne on, and we'd like them to be engaged. The Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day is on Sunday, July 13th. That's from 9 to noon, and pre-registration is required for that. So I just want people to know that we will accept household hazardous waste. This isn't for business waste unless you have something to determine with the DEP in advance. But we will accept a lot of different items. Check with Karen, check the flyer beforehand, and make sure you pre-register. And then summer hours will start at the transfer station on June 1st, So that's with the Sunday hours, 8 to noon. And then I've been working on some professional development training to finish up my certified manager requirements, which I'm glad to be able to do that. It's a nice way for me to, stay on top of my skill set and, stay engaged professionally. And after 10 years with the town, I think it's about time that I got that taken care of. So that's my town manager's report. Any questions or anything you'd like to add or ask about? All right.
Sounds good.
Moving on to treasurer's report. Month of April, everything looked good. No issues. The budget is completed. It's nice to be able to put that in a report. No changes till we start again next October. The audit, we are working on pre-audit activities, that pulling information together, signing paperwork, and that's for the fiscal year 2025 audit. That's the one that ends this June. But I just wanted the board and the public to know that we do this and we're getting ready to get started with that next audit. As far as comments go, really things are pretty stable. This report does cover the month of April, as noted. We should be at about 83% for revenues and expenditures. Real estate payments are down for the month and up for the year to date. It's a bit unusual. Real estate's actually down about 12%, which is more than I would have expected. Excuse me, it's only down 7.7%. There was something else that was up. But still, that's a big drop month over month. I'm not sure exactly why, but we're still on track for the year, and that's a positive thing. People are kind of awed about how they make payments, especially when they're not with a mortgage company. So sometimes people will just hold on to money for a while and make 2 payments at once. But we'll see what happens there. Motor vehicle revenues are up slightly for the month and then moderately for the year to date. So we are seeing a bit of a slowdown there, but we expected that. And then total receipts are down significantly for the month and are just under target for the year to date. And that total receipts number is the number that was down by double digits, 14.4%. So again, I think that a lot of that does have to do with the real estate, but that should pick right back up again. And then everything else really looks to be on track for the quarter through April, or through, not the quarter, but yeah, through the month of April. And that's my treasurer's report. I'm happy to take any questions.
I'll just point out that all of the report is available online, including the journal entries and all the receipts and revenue summaries and quite a bit of detail. So anybody who wants to see that information, it is all there. We will now move on to, I think we were up to the community services report. So we have Karen here, so we'll do the cemetery first. And we have Grace,
Yes,
who can assist if needed.
Grace as well. Hello, I'll play second fiddle to Grace. Any rate, first, I know I put a report together, a written report for you all to look at. But prior to that, I just want to thank you, thank Eric in particular and the select board for supporting me to be the sexton again. I've always enjoyed doing it. Last time I retired, but now here we are again, so it's good. And in case anybody didn't know this, I'll let you know officially that there's a bit of knowledge that's not correct, that there is a certain profession that people say is the oldest profession in the world. But in reality, written documents go back like 200 years prior to that show cemetery sextons as the oldest profession. So here we are. Continuing on with the tradition.
We learned something new tonight.
There you are.
That's great.
So are there any questions about, I mean, we're at the end of the fiscal year, so I'm really just trying and get everything done that the committee had put forth to accomplish this year. So we're really working at it hard. But as you can see, there's a few things that are being planned. I don't know if you have any questions about that. And the big thing that over and above that as well too, and I don't want to make official kind of statement on this, that the maintenance guys are doing an incredible job in the cemeteries. I thought that we were going to have a hard year getting things mowed to begin with, given the way that the weather's been. But they've been doing a great job with that. And things will be looking good for Memorial Day, which of course, as we all know, is this weekend. So, that being said, any questions on?
I just had one, I just wondered if you've had any work quotes, or we're starting the process about that tree that is a problem?
Yeah, in fact, I've got somebody lined up to take it down. I've got Andrew Poulin Tree
Yep,
lined up to take that down, so we can get that done, obviously before the end of the fiscal year
yep, perfect.
for that. And then Grace and I today went to Longfellow's greenhouse, and we spec'd out a few nice decorative trees for replacement trees. Because as you all know, well, I don't think you were involved in any East Readfield trees. Yes, you were, Dave, in one of the original, the big old East Readfield.
Yeah.
But the ones bordering Plains Road, they've been slowly having to come down. And we've done some plantings over the years, the cemetery committee. But we want to plant a little more, like have trees. People like trees around cemeteries. So, but our intent is not to obligate future 200 years from now, 150 years from now, people saying, what were in their minds to plant these big trees here, and look at all the stones are getting wrecked. So we're looking at things that are more like a hemlock, no, not hemlock. Hawthorn? A hawthorn,
I
Dave?
was gonna say, look at, the biggest mistake people make planting a tree is it fits the area when it's 6 feet tall, but they don't look at the mature growth of the tree. So
Exactly.
you see people plant these arborvitaes on the corner of their steps all the time that are 6 feet tall. Well, they don't take into consideration that an arborvitae will grow 40 feet tall and 40 feet wide.
In no
So-
time flat.
Good plan, you know?
Yeah.
The hawthorn's not gonna be the size of an oak tree,
So that's part of what we're thinking too. And also, I mean, they've got nice flowering, they've got nice, different types of leaves and all. I mean, everybody loves maple leaves, I'll
Nobody
admit
will
it in
run up and
full.
grab a hold of them and pull them out of the ground, because
I-
the thorns are like this long.
Yeah, yeah. So we should do okay with those. And also, is I'm sure, perhaps you read in the report, I know you got quite a packet this time around, that we're working on obtaining basically some funding. I said grant, I think, but it's not really a grant, but some funding through the Torrey Memorial Church to help offset the cost on those trees too. So that'll be nice if we can get that done.
Great.
And of course, I'll work with DigSafe and all. I don't think there's any utilities right there by the cemetery, but by law, we have to do these kind of things prior to.
I'll mention one thing that came up on candidates night. Sean, you probably heard this. I think you were there then. Our next select board member who's running for the unopposed seat, Rebecca Lambert, has a real interest in working with you as sexton and the committee at large at doing something to digitize the cemetery plots in town,
Oh,
which we had talked about probably 10 or more years ago.
it's been an ongoing,
Right.
discussion.
She
Yep.
has a real interest in that, so she actually thought that that might be something she sets as a goal for us in our retreat this summer. We were sort of having a back and forth conversation at that time. So I just thought I'd bring that up, that you have someone coming in on this level who will support your work in trying to do that. And of course, I understand, I think all of us do, that that would require funding. But to let the history be more accessible to people, and a lot of people have relatives in Readfield who live all over the world and can't come here to see the sites and to learn the history of the neighbors and the town and so on. So that might be in your future. I'm sure she'll get in touch with you guys and see,
Good.
what's been done and what she might be able to do or we could do to help in making more of that come alive.
And also, I know in the past, pardon me, that the select board occasionally toured the cemeteries or a cemetery at a time. I mean, time is valuable for everybody, for all you guys. But if that's something you'd be interested in too, the cemetery committee talked about that a little bit today, to say that we'd offer you know, anytime for, even to just go to one particular cemetery and spend an hour or so walking around.
We had
looking at it.
planned to do that before Andy passed away.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah.
And I think one of the things that we had talked about with him, maybe at a budget committee meeting, was that we could tour one or two cemeteries, but then he was going to go to the others and take some photos, so we could sit together and look at the photos and sort of see what the history is and maybe what some of the issues are,
Sure.
without having to actually go and visit them. But getting out there and hearing things, like, I think, Jaren, you and I both ended up at the one in town, the Corner Cemetery, last year when they were repairing the stones. Is that you? Was it you? Somebody went. Anyway, it's just fascinating.
Maybe nobody was there.
Yeah. You know, was this during the evening hours? Because, you know, I mean, there've
Nope.
been,
No, but you know, the repair work that you folks do and just the age of some of these stones that we have custodial care for is very incredible. And the history is
we've got
very
an, I mean, we got
important.
an old town, and it's amazing. You just walk in some of the old parts of the cemetery, and it's obvious that it's an old town.
Right?
You know, so it's good that way. And then, one other thing, if there's no other questions too, I just want to address, I know there could be an issue with people perhaps thinking that, well, gee, she's the transfer station manager and she's paid for full-time to do that, and then now we're going to pay her to do the sexton duties as well again. And I want to make it clear that this is not any type of double dipping at all, that if I ever have to leave the transfer station to take care of anything in cemeteries, literally, and my policy is I'm clocking out. I clock out there, I take care of the cemetery sexton that I'm already paid for under the stipend. Then when and if I come back to back to the transfer station, then I clock back into the transfer station. That did happen once this year with the Kents Hill Day of Caring. I ended up having to go up there to work with them for, I think, 3 hours in the afternoon, and it was a Thursday, so we're only open to the commercial guys then, but literally I clocked out then, and so I just want to make that clear too as well, that, you know, again, I appreciate the opportunity, and I'll work hard for the town, and I'll certainly earn the money in both regards, but it's not we're not working them simultaneously.
And
that way,
I'll just
so.
reinforce that this board was informed by Eric that when you were hired to be the sexton, they were separate jobs.
Yep.
With separate duties and separate times that they would occur and
Right.
not overlap. And we were
Right.
all in agreement and approved of that.
And there's not, although this one did overlap, it's a rarity that these kind of things would happen. I mean, if there's an issue with a burial,
You have to
death
be
can't
there.
be planned, and I may have to run off for half hour, an hour, 45 minutes or whatever, but I don't anticipate that happening often at all, so, yeah. Just to
Great.
clarify that as well, too, so we all understand.
Any questions for Karen? Welcome back.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you. Glad to be back again. I wish you were still doing trees, Dave.
And yes, Grace, you and Karen are welcome to leave if you'd like.
Well, I just wanted to say one thing.
Oh, that's good too.
I don't usually talk, but I would like to thank you again for the awards. That's totally unexpected. But I did want to relay the fact that the cemetery committee was just thrilled to have Karen back. She has so much knowledge about past dealings with the cemeteries, and it's just great for our committee. And so, publicly, I'd like to thank you for stepping up again.
Well, and I think we all agreed when Eric presented to us this proposal that we were pleased to have someone do it who it's not tied to their employment in the town, so that if they leave their position in the town, then we also lose the sexton, because we've been having some turnover with that, and that's not really good for the committee, and it's not as good for the continuity in the cemetery care.
Not at all good for the cemeteries and keeping track of things.
Right.
You gotta know where people are.
So you can't retire again, that's what it all comes down to.
For a while. Okay, thank you all.
You're welcome, thanks. Okay. Why is it when I click on a tab, it won't open? I don't click hard enough. Okay,
That's the wrong click. Not the right-
evidently, yep. There
That's
we,
what I'm talking.
I'll go home and watch.
I can't do that. Oh, thank you.
We're counting on that.
So we had a written community programming coordinator update in the packet, and it was very thorough. She talked about Readfield U and about swim lessons and baseball and about the field work that Sean,
Details about
thanks for, and the Day of Caring, and that she's also starting to work on Heritage Days. So that's really the update. Been very busy and I think doing a wonderful job for our town.
For sure.
I would like to let you know that I was in O'Reilly's on Saturday, Auto Parts in Augusta, and Winthrop has their Old Home Days, maybe is what they call it, on July 26th, and their flyer is already up. And I know we've talked in the past about advertising more widely than we have been, and I think that would be perfect to start getting a flyer up in the next couple weeks. It doesn't have to have anything more than, you know, the bold outline, letting people know it's happening on this weekend and there are these kinds of things happening. But we should get it out in the bigger towns, and then we'll have more people come and enjoy some of the things Readfield has to offer. Maybe they'll move here. So, okay, just my suggestion. Okay, moving on, boards, committees, commissions, and departments. We had minutes come in from the Board of Appeals, the Budget Committee, the Conservation Commission, and the Open Space Working Group, both draft and approved minutes, and we thank everybody for that. These are available online for folks to read and stay informed. Any comments or questions? At this time, I'd like to invite Bruce Burgoyne to come up. He would like to speak with us concerning the Open Space Committee.
I'll be brief, but I first want to say, every time I come to one of these meetings, I learn a couple things. So first of all, I thought when we hired you, it was going to be 10 months to get that certification, not 10 years. And certainly a joke.
It was like my
And
fun
secondly,
earlier.
I will try my hardest not to die when the transfer station is open, just to help the town a little bit.
He's not gonna what?
Die
Station is open.
when the transfer
Expire.
station is open. So Karen can stay at the transfer station for that time.
Okay, oh,
Or maybe that's where I'll be interned, I don't know. You know?
See that right over here? You were still not getting it.
So,
I'm there now, I'm caught up.
The Open Space Committee
Who's
has
keeping time
reported
tonight?
to you somewhat, are we all set? Somewhat quarterly, and you probably have said a couple times as you've left the meeting or after I've left the meeting, boy, they're really not moving along as fast as we thought. And it's true, we've been pretty detailed. It is a very active group in the sense that they all have other obligations because they're representing other committees and entities in town, every single member. So we're not going to get our work done by the end of our term on July 30th. No, excuse me, June 30th. We've discussed this, and I'm coming before the board tonight to ask for an extension of 4 months to complete our work. We do have a plan. We think we can accomplish that during 4 months. We've actually kind of done this without any financial or, consulting support. I mean, I suppose there could still be some small expense in putting together the final draft or something like that, but nothing major. A lot of volunteer time has gone into this. There was some discussion, not discussion, but just back and forth when I mentioned this and got this on the agenda for tonight, that maybe we'd extend this for a year. I don't think my committee members want that at all. We really would like to be done, and we would like to deliver our product by the October 31st or November 1st, whichever date makes sense for you. So we have a lot of material done in terms of the rewrite of the original plan. We're putting it together into a master document right now. We have a subgroup working on discussing what mapping we have. We're probably not going to put a lot of maps out there. We're probably going to direct people to more live resources where they can see up-to-date information from the state or other various resources. That seems to make more sense than have something printed that's, for example, the 2006 report has a bunch of maps in it. Well, probably all of those are not accurate or relevant anymore. So we're hoping that as we produce this 25 update, that in, I don't know, 2035, we're looking at mapping resources that are still available from entities that keep them up to date for us. So that's kind of where we stand. So that's, I wanted to talk to this board about that very briefly, because you're the board that appointed us. And so I would think if there was to be any extension, and you do appoint people for multiple years anyhow, it would come from this board. Not that it's going to be changed, I don't believe too much, but that's it. If you have some questions for me, I'm more than happy to answer them. You don't have to reappoint all those members tonight, but all the members who are on the committee would stay for the 4 months. And that's really what I want. Their names and their work has gone into this up to this date. I would say that we still have a vacancy since Andy Tolman passed away from having the cemetery committee represented on the board. And if you wanted to talk, I was hoping they would kind of stick around for a second, because of my joke, number one, but also that. We certainly would welcome somebody from the cemetery committee to participate. Obviously, we're not going to ask them to do as much heavy lifting as possible as we've done to date, but they'd be able to probably help us out a little bit in making sure that we have aspects that we might have forgotten or overlooked or whatever that would be of particular interest to the cemetery committee in that open space. So that's it. Any questions?
Maybe. Does anyone have any questions on this side? So what I had written back to Bruce was that we were already aware of the fact that this might not get done on time, and I think we had all been okay with that. We asked for them to do the best job they could, not the quickest. We wanted it to be thoughtful and precise and something the town would be able to utilize and not cause a lot of angst for any particular group. So these people on this committee were appointed for 1 year, so they need to be reappointed, and I don't think we can reappoint them, right? They have to,
You have to resubmit an application.
do they have to resubmit, Eric, or how does that work?
We do have a process for that, but.
So we have Kristen get in touch with them and it'll all be taken care of.
Yeah.
That's how we do that, okay. All of our appointments to date have been for single to multiple years. So my suggestion is that we reappoint these folks for another year term with the expectation that they'll finish by November 1st. But that way, if something comes up after November 1st that we need a vote on or we need information for, say, when we're putting the warrant together next spring, you could still call on somebody to come and participate. So the reappointment period would be for a year, but the expected work would not be for that time period. So we can actually, in that same motion, set, we expect the finished product by, and give a date.
Do we need to make that 2 motions, one to extend the committee and one to extend the appointments?
Sure.
Is that?
It's certainly up to the board where we serve at your pleasure, but I think a 4-month appointment would be more what individual members would prefer.
Should we start by saying, making a motion to extend the, what do we call it, the time frame or the
Yep.
finished product for the open space committee to October 31st? You think that's?
Yeah, that's what we're shooting to do.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor? That is unanimous.
And then we need to make a.
Do we have to make a motion to extend the, that's what or
You
can
do.
Kristen just take care of it?
Well, so, I mean, they are expiring on June 30th, but basically, I would just approach it like any other reappointment process, where that would get taken care of at the second meeting in June after the election. And you could make a determination now, perhaps, about, the length of that reappointment. But I think it makes sense to just have it run through the length. the length of the appointments run through the length of the committee's charge, which has
Which is
just been
October
extended to
31st,
October
yeah.
31st.
Okay, so we'll make sure that's on the agenda for the second meeting in June.
Yeah.
So if they finish late, we're gonna have to reappoint them again,
They're not going to.
which is
Not
not,
gonna be late.
that's a messy thing. Okay,
I'm pretty sure what I'm hearing is, we don't want to go any longer. We figured 4 months is the longest we possibly are willing to do this any longer.
Yeah, I mean, I am running into some vacation and travel and those kinds of issues over the summer, so we're coming into that. But we have a couple of subgroups, one on writing and one on maps, and these are 2 or 3 people, and they know what they need to do, and we will meet
Perfect.
monthly over the summer. We will hold a public hearing on a document in either late September or early October, and then we'll bless everything and make any final adjustments and present it to the select board.
in
You know,
October.
at your second October meeting, or, you know, possibly your first November meeting, it would be me coming in or something like that, but,
So
that's
then-
the plan.
I think we could simplify this right now and just have a motion to ask Kristen to open up the appointment, to reappoint folks to that ad hoc committee through October 31st.
I'll make a motion to have Kristen reappoint and work on that ad hoc committee through October 31st.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's unanimous. There you
Great.
go.
I appreciate that extra consideration of just doing 4 months. As a chair too, that kind of gives me the ability to apply some pressure too. Thank you very much.
Could we count on you to come back in the spring if it need be for the warrant time?
Sure, absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
I volunteered for this committee as a public member, and I'm very happy to talk about that. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you, Bruce.
Okay, moving on, we have the appointment of the election officials for the June 10th town meeting. And then it's your turn, Lee, so you don't have to stay all night.
Can I just do a slate?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the ballot election clerks as noted on our packet. The names are Greg Durgan, Karen Peterson, Thomas Mulkey, Kim Whitman, Elaine Cates, Donnell Nowak, Lorraine Clark, Marilyn Palmer, Grace Keene, Sonia Clark, Catherine Woodsom, Steve Woodsom, Thelma Parks, Emily Roderick, and Alan Curtis.
What page are you on?
No idea.
I found it. Okay, 26. That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
For discussion, I just need to state that my husband Steve and I will not be able to count anything or certify anything for the town election because I'm a candidate, but we can legally count the school ballots. So we were summoned to do such.
I mean, concerns you started, so we can't count. I'm like, what? You can't count? But I understand, not in general. You just mean like
Right.
for the-
We're not allowed to.
all over it.
Right. So I just wanted to make that clear because that would be a conflict of interest.
Sure would.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It is unanimous.
Steve's
All
already signed.
right,
You guys are done with the budget process. Nothing left
we
to do
are
except for-
done. Old business number 25-092, I understand is probably going to be wicked short. Consider the Winthrop dispatch services and fees. That'll be Eric and Lee.
Sure, so we asked for a couple weeks to continue to work on this, and we have done that. I've had some conversations with a few elected and appointed officials. But the big news is that we don't have any news yet from Winthrop, from Waterville, and I'll let Lee talk about that situation.
We're still waiting on some information from Waterville. The lady that does it has been out of the office doing training, so hopefully this week we'll see something back with them.
Okay? So the suggestion would be to put this on our June 9th agenda,
Correct.
which is that 2 weeks or 3?
It's 2 weeks. 3.
1, 2, 3 weeks.
3.
The first of 2 meetings. It will be Steve's last meeting. That'll be exciting. We can talk about dispatch in that meeting.
Not dispatching Steve.
You're right. You could do a double thing, you know?
Is that okay with you, Lee?
That works, and
Okay.
hopefully we'll have some.
Well, thank you for staying on top of it. We appreciate it. And we'll see where it goes.
And I will say, Lee and I've done a little bit of contingency planning on trying to think about what happens if we don't get results or don't get the information we need. Because there are a few other pieces of this. We want to make sure the technology's working and all that. So we have started to talk about what different alternatives might look like. I don't want to get into detail on any of that, but I just wanted to let you know we were thinking about it, talking about it, and just being thorough and thoughtful in our deliberation on it. And we'll bring everything we have back to you on the 9th.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Okay. I'm going to move on then. New business, number 25-097, consider the purchase of a storage container for the Readfield, for the rec and community programs, which I think we just paid for.
No, that was a
Pretty
different
sure I
one.
saw that on the warrant.
Yeah, so did I.
Those different ones.
That was a different
I
one.
think,
Yeah.
right?
That was
Oh.
Tex. That was Big Tex. That was a trailer for the, so the maintenance guys can fit both zero-turn mowers on.
Oh, yeah.
So that was for a tow behind. This is for a storage container
Oh.
for rec
So it
equipment.
is something different.
So, and I did have a different, originally I had a different estimate in here, but I updated that today. The one that you have on here now includes the passage door. Some people call it a man door, but I just call it a passage door. But that does give access through a standard, 36-inch, kind of like what we have in a regular room, door, so that they can get in there and grab a sack of basketballs without having to open the very large double doors. But we had great success with one of these roll-off containers for the transfer station for storing materials. Keeps it dry, keeps everything safe. There's no rodents. So it's a good solution, cost-effective for the amount of material. And we are finding that the more programs we do, the more things we collect. So we're starting to see ice skates and hockey gear show up into the swim locker, into the beach area. And a lot of that stuff just doesn't need to be either in those locations. We've got stuff in the town office that's starting to overflow. We have a lot of equipment that's in people's personal possession, and we'd like to get all that back together. The rec department used to have a portable trailer maybe 15 years ago on RSU property, and that actually was sold. It was before my time, but it would have been nice to still have that, but
It was rotten too.
it was rotten too.
Yeah, it was not worth
Yeah,
it.
so it wasn't worth saving, but they had some storage, but then they had none, and it's all been kind of packed in. But again, Jen is really doing fantastic work, and I don't see that demand going away, and they've been asking for this for a while, so I'll just stop talking about the pitch, but basically, we have $17,000 in reserve for rec activities, rec equipment, and I think this is one of the best investments we could make to give them the ability to store and manage their equipment all in one place, and make their job easier, make my job easier, and just make programming better.
Just
So,
out of curiosity, Eric, where's it going to be?
we're looking at putting it by the old entrance to the transfer station. So if you go in, there's a gate, they'd be able to get in, and there's a little pad off to the side
Mhm.
there, and we would have it there. And that way they can get to it without too much trouble. But it's also not an eyesore someplace else, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Sean, can we get power to it?
We could, we'd have to be creative because there is a power line that runs there. My recommendation would be to start off with solar lights and see how that goes. I think in the long term, we might want to look at power, but by the time we get to that point, we might want to think about something more than a storage container. But that's just my opinion on it. But we'll start with solar lights and see what people need.
You could get some battery-powered lights that are magnetic, hang them on the wall for the inside.
Yep.
Someone can turn it on, walk with it if they can't see all the way to the back.
Yeah, and they will have those big double doors if they really need to get in and get light, but just like, any a garden shed or something, you can always go in with a flashlight. But like I said, we'll try to get some, maybe some LED strip lights to go on top and a solar panel to power them, so.
Perfect. I'd entertain a motion.
Which one are you thinking? The one with the man door?
Yeah, the one with the man door, yeah, so that's the one that's 4550 with all things included. And we get free delivery because we had a deal from the one of the conventions I went to, so.
There's not any identifying quote number on it, so you'll have to
We'll just
specify it
define
by something.
The one. There is a VIN number.
Ah,
So we'll define it by that.
Yeah, that sounds
okay,
good.
perfect.
So I'd make a motion to authorize Eric to purchase the stock number, or VIN number 714298.8, storage trailer for $4,550.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? This is coming out of the rec funds that you showed us in there.
Yeah, so it has the 17, so I always wanted to show the purpose fit, and the funds are the 17,000 that are available approximately. I mean, normally I wouldn't bring a smaller expense like this to the board because it just could happen, but it's very important programmatically, so I wanted to make sure you had a part of the discussion.
A lot cheaper than building a building.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
For
Okay.
balls.
All those in favor? That is unanimous.
Great, well, you
And-
made some rec folks very happy. Me too, because I can clear out our basement.
Yeah.
We have 5 minutes if needed for other business, upcoming meetings, and future agenda items.
Are we gonna have a cake for Steve?
Does Steve want a
Oh,
cake?
wait, the cake, yes, yes.
Will Steve eat it?
I'm not interested in anything else other than that, but some food would be great.
Carrot cake, right?
Maybe you can bring something to drink, you know.
You want me to bring things to drink?
In a clear glass container. Will Steve eat cake if we
I'll
bring
make
cake?
the punch.
Oh, Steve will
There
always
we
eat
go.
cake.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't care which
Okay,
one.
so June 9th, everybody remember to show up. We can all take credit for that.
Wow.
Well, maybe you and I won't even be here, Steve.
I'll make a motion to adjourn on that note.
Second.
All those in favor? It is unanimous, and we are adjourned at 7:27.